What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is everybody doing this evening? That's right. It's evening time right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I am your host, Stephen Daniels. I'm super stoked about this show that we're about to do. It is awesome. A couple things before we get started. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything to do. It's free. Hit the like button and share. Let people know that we're here. We can't do this big, awesome, amazing thing without your help. So make sure you guys do that. Get on here, enjoy it, hit the like button, and enjoy and have fun tonight. All right, we got a big show lined up for you tonight. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. We're on Discord. Join our Discord. That's all in the description below. You can see all that. We're going to be doing fun stuff the entire evening, and we got a big one lined up for you today. Normally on Tuesday mornings on CLOCKBLOCKERS, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show that we do each and every weekday here on the channel, I usually have my man Daniel Oyefusi on for like a good hour. We get to talk about a lot of different stuff. But he had to do a press conference this morning, so we only got him for like 15 minutes. So I was like, you know what would be awesome? Why don't we bring him on the Roundtable on Dolphin Chat this evening? So I'll bring in the first guest, Mr. Daniel Oyefusi of the Miami Herald. What is going on, Daniel? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Glad I was able to make this work out and come on for the Roundtable. Excited for it.
I know, man. Look, this is going to be good time. You're not used to being on this, Lee. I feel like
know,
you're
right?
in bed usually, right? You're probably in bed.
Under my eyes, man. It's getting to my bedtime.
Speaking of somebody who doesn't have a bedtime, he's always up at all times of the night. And anytime I do anything, he's like, if you can catch me after 10 p.m. and I'm willing, or 9 p.m., I'm willing to do anything. I'm talking about Mr. Douglie Do Wrong, one of the goats of this community. What is going on, Douglie? How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm feeling energized. You caught me during my prime, so I'm good.
Hey man, look, I love having you on. I'm super excited about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun stuff. So I'm super stoked about it. Also, without further ado, the man of the hour. I love this man. He's my brother from another mother. I would not be in the position I am today without this man. Love this guy, Mr. TD Phins Talk. What is up, TD?
I'm good, Mr. Skylar Talk, you know. Home of the real Skylar Thompson fans. Let's go, baby.
Home of the real Skylar Thompson fans. Oh my goodness. Already getting started with it. All right, look, we also have Reason coming on. Reason's just running a little bit behind, but he said he'll hop on here in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to have the crew on this evening. So I'm super excited about this one. One of the big reasons I wanted to bring all of us onto the panel today was having the opportunity to kind of give each other just kind of our state of where the Dolphins are right now. We can go on everybody's channel or everybody's platform and see the fans talking and the fans discussing and mostly the fans arguing. And I wanted to kind of get everybody's perception on where the team is at right now. And I also wanted to bring in somebody who has the opportunity to see the team every day, and that's Daniel. And I know that a lot of you guys don't have the opportunity all the time to speak with somebody who might be at practice every day, like Daniel. And so I wanted to bring all us into one place and kind of have an opportunity to just have a roundtable discussion about what we perceive, what Daniel probably perceives it as, and see if we can find some common ground, if any at all. So the first thing I want to do is just ask Daniel straight up, where do you see the team today on August 23rd as we're about to walk into our third preseason and final preseason game right now?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, where we find the team right now. We're a couple months into McDaniel's kind of tenure and his run as first-year head coach here. And, I think that, we're starting to come out of the honeymoon phase a little bit. He's spoken a lot about adversity, like the way you respond to adversity. And I think that the first couple of months were really great. They get Tyreek Hill, they get Teron Armstead, they spend some, so a lot of money in the offseason, and they get all the pieces together. There's a lot of excitement. And I've said it for several weeks and months, it's warranted excitement. Like, I've been very bullish on this team. But as you get into training camp, you start to realize, maybe you're not as deep in certain spots as you think you are. And, so you got some injuries to the cornerbacks and other spots start to come up. So you start to get a little bit of that adversity. Maybe the shine is starting to come off a little bit. So I think they're in a good spot. I think that there's a lot of things to be, optimistic about with this team. But I think, again, that once you get to this time of the year in the summer and you start to see some of the injuries pile up and you start to see some of the deficiencies, some of the weaknesses, some spots that you thought were strong, but maybe not as strong as you thought. Then the reality starts to kick in. I think that's what a lot of people are starting to see right now. That maybe this team isn't everything that it was hyped up to be at first. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good team. That doesn't mean they're going to be a bad team, vice versa. But yeah, I think that we're starting to see them hit a little bit of adversity. I think even these next couple of weeks, with the roster cut down and whatnot, it's going to be interesting to see how the team unfolds and where they go from there. But again, I think that there's some clear strengths on this team. They're explosive. They have a lot of speed on this team. And obviously the continuity in the defense speaks for itself. So they're in a good spot. But again, there are definitely some questions that are popping up that need to be answered before week one.
All right, I posed the same question to you two gentlemen. I'll start with TD. Where do you see the team right now, and what's your view on the team as of this moment?
Well, I've gotten to a point with this team, just following for quite some years now, as far as in-depth analysis, that I'll believe it when I see it. The only thing I believe is what I see. I don't, give credit for, well, we're hiding this, we're not showing everything. All I could do is go off of what I see. And I see a team that brought a coach in who's supposed to be the guy who's going to turn around the run game. This run game isn't good. I mean, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, but the run game isn't good, okay? Until I see it. Also, pass protection. I feel like our pass protection has improved, but at the same token, when I go to practice, our defensive front is obliterating this O-line, and this same O-line never really saw the ones against the ones of defense of the other teams even in joint practices that much in those preseason games. So I'm a little more optimistic about the pass protection, but still a little bit more skeptical when it comes to our quarterback position. I think that Tua, being the starting quarterback number one, has made improvements, but how much? How much is it his improvement and how much is the improvement of what's surrounding him? Either way, we're going to need that combination in whatever way it comes to be a lot better than it was the last 2 years. And outside of that, man, I'll just end it on that. There's so many things to talk about, but the last thing I'll say is I am so nervous about this Byron Jones situation. As much as we continue to say, week one, I am so nervous that week one is going to turn into week 3, or if they decide to actually do the official IR week 4 or 5, whatever, you can come back. I think it's 4 weeks this year, because this defense is not going to be able to schematically do what they do best without both of those guys on the boundary doing what they do. We've seen it for several years now with either lingering injuries or one of the guys missing, that this defense is forced to play more zone. And I can care what anybody say. We can't play zone to save our life. We are not a good zone team, and I think that's primarily because of our linebacking core. They either good at stopping the run or they're good at stopping the pass, and not both. We don't have many guys that can actually do both on the interior linebacking core. I love our edges, but that's where I think we are right now. So we'll see, man. When we see it, we'll believe it.
Daniel, before I let Douglie go, do you have any pushback or do you have any different thoughts as to what TD put up there?
No, I completely agree, especially with the Byron point. I mean, we're less than 3 weeks to week one, and they keep on saying we're hopeful there's no setbacks. There might not be a setback, but I mean, Byron's got to get on the field and start. I mean, he hasn't been cleared to practice. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. He's not seeing the field right now.
0 reps.
So yeah, it's the more time, the more days go by, it's hard to see a scenario where he's able to see the football field, practice with enough time to kind of get back up to speed and get back to form ahead of week one. And again, if both of those guys, X and Byron, aren't out there playing at their fullest capability, we're going to see what we saw a lot that first drive against the Raiders, where you might have all the defensive line and all the linebackers and the safeties back there, but they're going to target who they want at cornerback, and they're going to have their way. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely important. I mean, we just saw Mackenzie Alexander go down. They're really at the breaking point with the cornerback position right now.
Doug?
Yeah, there's still areas that worry me. Like a lot of it has to do with depth because we've seen it, especially the O line and the cornerback depth is the scariest. Like we're talking about, if Byron doesn't come off the pup before before the 53-man roster cut down, he's done for minimum, I think 3-4 weeks it is. So he has to get off the physically unable to perform list. So that is the biggest thing because it seems like every time we're like, oh, this corner's playing well, he gets injured, and then we're like, oh, we gotta find another one. But I'm little optimistic, but I love to say I'd rather be surprised than let down, especially when it comes to this team. Because if you go into a season thinking, oh, this is it, it hurts even more when it's not it. And we've been doing that for how many years now? But it's a lot of it for me is depth. Like the D line is good, but I'm questioning the depth behind the D line, and the corners are good, but then I'm questioning the depth behind the corners. Same thing with the offensive line. Terron Armstead goes down. It's like, what are we going to do at left tackle? And then, so I'm optimistic. I like our starters. If our 22-man defense offense stays healthy, I think we're going to be real good. But when does that ever happen? There's always, especially with the big man in the trenches, there are always going to be injuries. So I think they'll, like worst case, they stick around the same record they had last year. But for me, the biggest question mark and biggest concern is depth.
All right, before we get into going back and forth here, I want to bring in the other wonderful, amazing panelists to our panel this evening from Phins side the NFL, Mr. Reason. What is going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, boys? How you doing?
Pretty good. Welcome to the show, man. Excited that you're here. I'll pose to you the same question that I've already posed to the other gentlemen. What is some of your concerns, and not even just concerns? Where do you currently see the Dolphins as of August 23rd today? What is your current outlook of the team?
I think obviously, well, everyone knows I'm not a huge Jerome Baker fan, so the linebacker, the second level altogether. The depth, at corner, I'm a big, everyone knows I'm a big Verone McKinley fan, so I'm not really worried about how the safety room is playing out right now. But the depth specifically at corner, because let's be honest, no Igbinoghene is about to make this team because of the injuries in front of him. I mean, money or not, that guy, I can name you 6 corners on our roster that are in front of him right now. And that list includes Elijah Campbell. All right. So, and now that he's getting bumped up because of injuries, that gives me, the guy's a piece of burnt toast out there, right? The guy's continuously on the rotisserie. So that's, depth at corner is real troublesome. Especially now with Mackenzie Alexander going down, because that allowed you to flex, need him to the boundary or the single high look. And that allowed you also, Keon Crossan was no longer just, vying for a backup slot role, allowed you to flex him to the boundary. So the Mackenzie Alexander, that injury hurts a little bit with what they seemingly wanted to do. Offensive line, I've been saying this since we signed Terron Armstead and Connor Williams. We're one injury to one of those guys going down, and we have the same line next year. As last year. So if Terron Armstead goes down, which history tells you he's going to miss 2, 3, 4 games, that's just what history tells you. I'm not wishing it upon him. I hope he's Trent Williams and he's healthy and he joins a 99 Madden club. I hope, but I'm basing off history because that's what you have to do. And it just doesn't look good, right? It's going to be literally the same line as last year with Connor Williams out of position. And so, and I'm this could all have been fixed. All could have been fixed by figuring out that center spot. You could have one of the best left sides in football, but you're playing games. So, anyways, that receivers good. Should we be worried about running back depth? Because history tells us Raheem Mostert misses games and Chase Edmond gets hurt, and we're seeing what Sony Michel and the rest of the guys are doing right now. Should be we were. I'm just going off history. The depth across the board. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the reason why I don't think this is a championship year is because we don't have championship depth. This is about building the foundation this year with this team and what they're putting together. And then next year you build the depth, you finish off a couple of spots and you roll with it. Right now, we don't have championship depth. We don't. And injuries are going to happen. It's football.
Miami Sports Music's Dolphin Chat, hosted by myself, Stephen D. I got Reason, TD Phins Talk, Douglie Durong, and Daniel Oyefusi of the Miami Herald. All right, guys, I want to open up this roundtable discussion and kind of get into detail because a lot of you hit on different things, all which I think are important and all I think people want to touch on.
Steven?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've had my whole thing between OTAs and because there's one other thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Between OTAs, before we got to camp, I said, listen, you don't put stock in any of this stuff. You start putting stock in joint practices and you start putting stock into preseason games. I'm not worried about inter-squad stuff. I'm not worried about all that stuff, right? You look for stuff. You look for maybe little trends, patterns that maybe turn into trends and carry over into those joint practices and preseason games. Cool. Take notes. Look at your notes. But Josh Boyer, I do have my eyebrows a little bit raised because let's be honest, I Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, all the way down to the 4-string Garbers, we're moving for the Raiders. We're moving the football. Jarrett Stidham looked like the guy that the Patriots drafted. He looked like the guy they drafted and thought was going to be the successor against us. I literally said on that live reaction, if Kyle Trask comes out here and starts moving the ball against us, I think I'm going to jump off a cliff. And what happened? Kyle Trask came out and started moving the ball against us after Blaine Gabbert just did. So I got my, I'm not panicking, but I have my, I'm doing the Robert De Niro to Boyer right now. And we got to see if he's the real deal without Brian Flores. Because, hey, we can all have our varying opinions of Brian Flores, but no one can knock that man for what he did on the defensive side of the football. And we're going to find out.
No comment. No comment on that. No. He's spot on. That's something that we just low key don't talk about because we just automatically, as Dolphin fans, want to say our defense is going to pick up where they left off last year. Don't forget where they started last year, and don't forget another. And we brought up the Byron Jones situation, why we were so incompetent for the first 8 games last season. But it goes back to the season before that. Let's not forget, Dolphin fans, we went through that same chunk space of about 6 games last year where the same injuries caused that. But I am, from what most of us know, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, acknowledge me if I'm right, the mystery is who's the one who's more aggressive? Was it Alexander or was it Boyer? I've been on the fence. I've been on the side saying that was all Alexander. Because when Flores came out in his press conference and he said, we are going to play a different style of football. And then the very next week, we zero blitz 50% of the time through the rest of the season, and nobody could somewhat stop it. But when Boyer had the reins early on, it was zone, hybrid, barely. We didn't zero at all, but we also have that built in of the Byron situation and X playing with the labored injury. But when we talk about injuries, I want to bring this up. I don't want to pivot, but I got to say this. We always talk about all of these running backs have had injuries in their career. That's a concern. All these Teron Armstead injury prone, the depth at the corner position due to injuries. And how many games can you get out of people? Let's also make sure that we don't leave out, and I'm not trying to pick on them, but how many games is Tua going to play? That is a serious conversation as well. History tells you're going to get 9-10 games out of him.
But also on the same, the reason why I didn't, we could also label Teddy if we really wanted to as well. Exactly. But the reason why I didn't label Tua is it's kind of like the Boyer thing. We're going to find out, we've heard all the different contradicting stories of when he was good to go from his camp and people in his camp. We're going to find all the way going back to when he was held out in the rookie year with that Jets game with the finger injury. We're going to find out if he was being held out or if he was too soft to really play through those minor injuries, because they're going to happen this year. No one's 80% by the end of the season. So he's going to have knocks and he's going to have minor injuries he's going to battle through, and we're going to find out whether, they were holding him out. So,
Daniel,
but you are right. You're not wrong.
Do you guys agree with TD and Reason?
Yeah, with the Tua thing, it's funny that, I won't say funny, but it's kind of ironic that, there's all this talk about can Tua throw a deep ball, can he get it to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and all this stuff. And really one of the more under discussed things is like the health aspect of it. He missed time in his rookie year. Obviously we saw what happened with the broken ribs and then the thumb or whatever it was, last year, which was still kind of a weird situation. But yeah, I mean, history has shown that Tua has, I don't know if you want to say injury prone. I mean, he's had a history of injuries, dating back to, when he was at Alabama and whatnot. Obviously there was the ankle stuff. There was obviously the hip. So it's just like he has a history of it. I mean, it's no hate, it's no whatever. Like it is what it is. That's what the injury says. If you talk to those close to him, they'll probably say that, hey, he's fully back from fully back from the hip injury now. He was able to really work on his body now and add some muscle and add some mass and whatnot. But again, yeah, like everyone said, like we'll see this year. But the history suggests that he has missed time. And maybe with better protection, a better running game, some of the stuff was a freak injury, like the rib freak thing. I mean, Tua can't do anything about Jesse Davis, coming off his block slow. And, even the finger thing was, but that was kind of a freak thing, but it happens. So again, we'll see, but it definitely has been one of the more under discussed things because you just never know. Injuries pop out of nowhere. I mean, they can, some years you have a bunch of injuries, some years you have no injuries. The Dolphins, knock on wood, have been lucky to kind of have pretty good injury health the past year or so. But we'll see what happens on that front.
And it's not just Tua; it's all three quarterbacks. Teddy, like Reason said, but Skyler too.
Yeah. He missed. That's part of the reason why he was a 6-year player because he missed some time with injury. So you're right.
Yeah, and that is the biggest thing, especially when it goes into the assessment on Tua, right? Because I'm on record for saying I'm giving him about 4 or 5 games to really show what he can do. But if he can't stay on the field, like we all have this like prediction and what do we expect from Tua in 2022? And for most part, everyone I'm seeing is you got to stay healthy. Now it goes back to what Reason was saying with last year. There's all these question marks and there's these like weird things like, okay, he wasn't healthy to play the Texans and the Ravens game, but he was healthy enough to be a backup. So where does that take? Like in college, he constantly got these little bang ups. He had the surgery, but then like after the surgery, he still played the LSU game.
2 weeks after the tightrope surgeries, he was back.
He never missed games from his college injuries until the hip injury. So he'd get banged up, but then he'd play through it. So then that's where all of a sudden the question starts coming in about last year and stuff. Point blank is he needs to stay healthy. That's the best way to get an assessment on him is having him on the field. Without him on the look at last year, we put Jacoby Brissett in for 4 games. Look what happened, right? So you got to get the guy on the field, and that is the biggest thing. He needs to stay on the field. And then, like TD brought up, and you guys brought up, it's not only Tua, it's Teddy, it's Skyler. These guys have these nagging history of injuries that it's like, are we going to call up Dan and say, hey, you need to come down from the booth and get on the field because we got no quarterbacks left?
Well, we'll just have to tank the season and wait on Lamar Jackson next year. But
all right, now before we
Will
go,
Levis, let's go. I'm drafting Will Levis. I ain't paid $45 million to Lamar Jackson. Stop.
Before we
he's gonna take a hometown discount.
Let's talk about this year.
$43.5 million. No, bro.
Hey.
Let's talk about the controversy that seems to be within the fan base that everybody wants to talk about, and that is, A, do you go with 2 or 3 quarterbacks? And B, is Skyler already the number 2 over Teddy Bridgewater? And I'm just interested to know what you guys think. Anybody can take it first on what you guys think.
Okay, go ahead.
That's exactly why I didn't say anything, because I knew that was about to pop off.
Daniel said something first.
Yeah, I mean, Steven, we talked about this a little bit in the morning, and I think that Skyler's looked really good in training camp and preseason. I think that he's earned the distinction of being, one of the 53 best players. When reporters spoke to Mike McDaniel on Sunday, he said the 53 is for the 53 best players, and I think that Skyler has shown that he's worthy of that distinction right now. So I do think that they should go with 3. I think that the long-term play of a potential high-end and inexpensive backup is something that you can't pass up. And I really do think that they probably have a good chance of sneaking him through waivers. Yes, people have film on him, whatnot. But it's kind of a scramble when we get to that last cut down. I mean, there's hundreds of guys that are being cut. The chances of a team picking them up to be, I mean, first off, you got to remember, a lot of teams aren't even trying to keep 3 quarterbacks as it is. But the odds of a team picking them up to be their backup quarterback with 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks until week 1, it's just not a high likelihood. Obviously, he's looked a lot better than Reed Sinnett looked last year. Reed Sinnett looked pretty good in some of those preseason games. So I understand. So, with all that being said, yeah, I think that you just don't chance that you keep him on the 53-man roster. But I kind of want to like pump the brakes on backup talk. I think that for even with the safety, and that was a really bad play on Teddy's part, I thought he looked really good in the preseason game. I thought he kind of like reinforced why he's regarded as kind of like a stopgap, really good backup type player. I mean, he can move the ball, he can make throws.
I can tell you just watching him the other night, Daniel, and for me, if he is somebody that's going to come into the game and be the backup, or let's say Tua goes down in the middle of the game, I'm not excited for Teddy. Teddy does not excite me. There's nothing about him that really excites me.
It's funny,
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because I was recording, the Dolphins that podcast earlier, and me and my podcast host were like, he said he's the Pizza Hut of quarterbacks. Like, he's gonna just do the job. Like, he's not gonna be great, but he's gonna fill you up for the night. I think that obviously there's a mystique about Skyler because he's a new guy. He's a rookie. I think that he's definitely more of a risk taker than Teddy. So there's that. But again, I mean, you got to remember, I mean, Skyler's been playing with a lot of 2s and 3s, and he's been playing against a lot of 2s and 3s. We love to hype up the preseason, but it's a little different when you're playing like starting units and you're getting those reps against people that are really game planning for you. And I think that if we ever got down to that situation, that'd be a scenario where Teddy's experience would show up. Maybe he doesn't have the arm strength or the some of these traits, these traits that you look for in a quarterback. But I think the experience would that expands the gap, and that gives Teddy the edge. But long term, yeah, I think that you definitely keep Skyler on the roster. After a year, Teddy can go look for another opportunity, and then you have a really good backup quarterback on a rookie contract. That's perfect. But right now, you're I mean, I'll put it this way: I'd be very worried if they just cut bait with Teddy right now, and obviously the cap implications, I don't even think they would do that. But I'd be very concerned if they cut bait with Teddy right now and just anointed Skyler the number 2 job, and for some reason he got that he got placed in the starting role. I mean, I'd be worried. I mean, obviously with Teddy, you're not as confident either, but I'd be a lot more confident with Teddy over Skyler just because of that experience. And I think that it would show over the long run if they were asked to start.
Doug, TD?
Yeah. I started doing my 53-man roster, and it gets hard. Like, I'm at 39, and I'm like stuck because there's good talent, and then there's like not such good talent. I'm like, who to keep and who. And my biggest thing I'm stuck on is the quarterback position, because it's like Daniel was saying. Do you keep 3? But then if you keep 3, you're taking away from
somebody from the secondary of the linebacker is going to get let go.
Spot somewhere where we might
or
need
defensive line for that matter. Yeah.
But if Skyler, because again, you have to cut Skyler to then put him on practice squad. That, like Daniel said, it's rare that they'll grab him because you got 2 weeks left to be a backup and learn the system and everything. But it's like he's been playing so lights out in the preseason that it's like someone's being a Dolphin fan, someone's gonna grab him. It's probably gonna be the Patriots. He's gonna back up Mac Jones. Mac Jones is gonna get injured.
Okay, worst case scenario. I got you.
Right?
Let's just
so it's like that's the biggest thing is like, do we keep 3? And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm keeping 3. It's and then see how Teddy does. But like Daniel said, it's like there's players on this roster that probably should be cut, like Noah, who, if he gets cut, that's $5.5 million in dead cap. So you cut him and you cut Teddy, you're losing $12 million in cap space. So it's like these are the things that the Dolphins and Greer and McDaniel are thinking about. But if I'm the Dolphins, I'm keeping 3 because I'm not letting Skyler have that chance of going anywhere else.
TD?
So first off, they will keep all three, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I think we all have the same reason for not like being skeptical about it. We talked about it earlier. The depth on this team is a concern. And this is where you prove the value of, you can call it the 53rd spot. It's so valuable whenever you're already depth stricken, you know, whether it be the O-line, whether it be the secondary, you want to carry those extra guys. Look at this receiving core. I mean, if you had in a perfect world, you'd want to carry an extra one, but you're going to have to actually move on from at least 1 to 2 pieces of talent. And that's where it gets frustrating. But I did go back and I watched the all 22 of Teddy in that game, and it definitely gave you a different light than what you saw in real time.
Yep.
Teddy was pretty sharp in that game, but you know what he reminded me of? Last year's Tua. No, I'm serious. He reminded me of last year's Tua. Made plays, nothing over. I mean, he had some good ones, but he also left some huge opportunities on the field. Yep. And I'm not talking about the kind that Tua and Skyler left on the field in that game from a decision standpoint, but a just straight miss. You know, missed his target. Oh, you oversold it or you put it too far in and it was incomplete. You know, but Tua and Skyler, the meat that they left on the field was the option they chose, but it was still complete with some production. So for me, I hate this situation. If it was me, I got Teddy on the trade block trying to see if I can find somebody that can utilize his service, right now. And I'm just moving forward with Skyler because this is Tua's year. We expect him to be healthy all year. And at the end of the day, if he needs to be replaced at any point, Teddy Bridgewater is not going to be our franchise quarterback. He's not the guy who's coming in to vie to fight to be the franchise quarterback long term. So at the end of the day, if Tua isn't it, you might as well go with the second guy who you drafted. Let's make sure we're clear on that. Who you drafted. And there is no way he is not exceeding whatever expectations you had for him, whether it be with the 2s or 3s. He has to be exceeding any expectations you had. And you use the draft pick on him. Therefore, you already invested in him. Go ahead. Now, we're not talking about the monetary investment. Monetarily, they can call Teddy in the office right now, restructure his contract to add a voidable year, and the dead cap won't hurt as much. Give him 1 voidable year, spread the $6 million out for 2 years, buy Teddy, if worst case scenario. But you drafted this kid. You saw the prototype, which is this is the prototype for this system. Let's make sure we get this straight. Skylar Thompson's build in college is the prototype for Mike McDaniel's system. That's why they went and got him. And not to be just the day one starter, but to develop just in case. In worst case scenario, you got a quality backup. But you never know if you got the next Russell Wilson, who Skyler was a 4th round prospect, just that his injuries dropped him to 7. You never know if you have the next Dak Prescott. You don't know, but at the same token, he's already exceeded any expectations that anybody could have had. So what, you're going to try to sneak him in the practice squad when you drafted him? So he's going to make the 53, but I hate it because I'd rather use that spot for somebody else with that.
You would rather trade Teddy Bridgewater?
Try.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Reason, I'm interested to know how you feel about this.
I'd carry 2.
Now, would it be Teddy 3 or Skyler?
I'm gonna tell you. Let me hit you with some real thing. I'd keep a second fullback before I kept a third quarterback. I mean, Alec Ingold's coming off a Week 10 ACL tear. What if that guy goes down? Are we forgetting how key the fullback position is in this?
In this awesome.
So, I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, I've heard they want to keep an extra linebacker too. So, I mean, I think we all agree we want to keep 6 receivers.
Yep.
We've seen, especially over the last couple of years. I mean, we've kept 7 the last couple of years because we've seen how those receivers can drop like flies during the regular season. So, yeah, I mean, I'm rolling with Skyler. I mean, 1 year of Teddy Bridgewater, and someone said, Tua is Teddy. No, he's not, because here's the difference between Teddy and Tua. Tua, we don't know. We still don't have a firm grasp of what his ceiling is, especially in this offense. Teddy, we pretty much know what he is. He is what he is.
Yep.
All right.
We've seen his ceiling. I agree.
No, I agree. No, I agree with what Daniel and everyone said about would I trust his experience over Skylar 110%, but I ain't trying to see either one of them this year. Let's be honest. Tua is supposed to be healthy. I'm trying to see either one of them.
But to your
and I'm
point,
gonna hit you. No, I'm gonna hit you with this. You know the vibes I get. Skylar could come in and give us for 2 or 3 games if he misses. That Matt Moore catch defenses by surprise, gunsling it.
Yep.
Because they can't scheme for him until they get a real feel
the tape's out. Until the tape's out. So I think he could come in and he could light it up for a few games. Let Tua walk back in. If Tua ain't the guy by the end of the year, hand the reins over to Skylar and let it roll. So I mean, that's what I would do, because I would be hesitant to give him a full season. If I could get 2 or 3 games of him in an injury aspect and he lights it up, I'm taking him back and I'm hiding him from the rest of y'all, because I ain't going to put him out for the rest of the season, because I'm going to hide him. I'm going to let Tua finish it out, and I'm going to keep working on this kid. So when you see him next time, it ain't going to be the same kid you just saw on tape that was lighting you up. He's going to be even better.
Reason to your original take, I pray that Tua plays all 17 games, because worst case scenario for me as a Dolphins fan is he plays 12 or 13 games. Skylar comes in, lights it up for three or 4 of those games, right? And we win, 3 or 4 of those games. Tua comes back, we maybe make the playoffs, but lose a playoff game, because then we're stuck in a scenario where, okay, we're probably going to get rid of Tua, but we're going to go with Skylar, and we still don't know what we have in Skylar all the way. And so I feel like we would be on this carousel again. Of course, that would be the worst case scenario as a Dolphins fan.
I think that's overblown. I think like a lot of people have posed that if Tua gets hurt for 2 or 3 games and comes back later, but Skylar lit it up in the 2 or 3 games, and then we make the playoffs, that's still indication that Tua had a successful season.
Yeah. TD. If he has to come in for those 2 or 3 games and it's heading into the playoffs, I'm riding Skylar in the playoffs if he wins them, might I add. I'm talking if like 2 has to miss like game 5 and 6.
That depends on what Skylar did in those 2 or 3 games and what the competition was.
So I said he was rolling, right?
TD and Reason will go with Skylar as number 2. Daniel, you're taking Teddy as 2. And Doug, who are you taking that to?
Skylar, if I had my choice.
It's not a knock on Teddy, though. I'm just talking about the situation.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the 53-man roster. Let's be honest. When we're getting down to these final decisions, it's going to be like, do they keep Benito Jones or like an extra cornerback or an extra wide receiver?
Sammy Guavon, who I think should make the team.
And I do too. But like it's like the practice squads are bigger. They can get some of these guys back on practice squad and elevate them. In terms of positional value and just long-term play, I think that for this specific situation, the Dolphins are better off keeping, Skylar. I mean, I think Benito Jones has looked really good in training camp. But it's like, is he really going to move the needle that much? Like, you can probably get a couple other Benito Jones, so to speak, on the practice squad, and then elevate them instead of worrying about, cutting that guy at the final deadline.
All right, Miami Sports Music, we got Dolphin Chat in the building. What I want to do right now is let you all ask one question to the panel, because I know that's one of the reasons I wanted you all to bring on. So a take and a question you guys might want to pose to the panel. I'm really interested to know, what you guys want to discuss and talk about when it comes to the Dolphins and the Dolphins take. I'll start with TD.
Oh, ask everybody else. So, that's perfect. That's what I was just about to do. So, and y'all follow me down this road, because I guess it's a 2-part question. And let's just be transparent here. Are we Super Bowl bound this year, Daniel?
No, I think that I have a lot of concerns about the depth of the offensive line, the depth at cornerback, and I mean, I don't have a problem about them necessarily running the ball, because I think that this team's going to be more pass happy than we think.
I agree.
In terms of, like the depth of the offensive line, I mean, again, that, like you guys were saying, they're one injury from kind of being last year's unit. And I think that they've made progress, but I don't know truly how much better some of those young guys are. We just won't know until we know, really.
Does anybody on this panel think that we're Super Bowl bound this year?
No.
I already said
anything is possible, but are we Super Bowl bound?
My first thing when I joined is I said we don't have championship depth.
So that's where my frame of thinking is with even the whole Teddy situation. We ain't Super Bowl bound anyway. Every move we make needs to be for the development of the future.
I mean, the Dolphins' moves have suggested that they think that they're ready to compete. So, I mean,
competing and winning a championship.
You don't get Tyreek Hill and give him the money that you give him.
I hope they're
Tyron Armstead. If you don't think that, I mean, that's not what.
They
said this is a reboot, not a reboot.
But I mean,
the Dolphins should only have one.
Well, let's be honest, bro. I thought some of these fans have rose-colored glasses. If you think you're going to go from not winning a playoff game in 20 years to straight directly to the Super Bowl, I mean, I got some news for everyone, bro.
The Bengals went from 2 and whatever they went to.
But they had
a Scott going to happen. But I'm just.
But they won playoff games under Marv Lewis. They were winning playoff games. That's what I'm sitting here saying. You know what I mean?
It was a different regime,
and they also had a quarterback like Skylar Thompson, but we'll get there. But I guess what I'm saying, we know we're not. The Dolphins should only have one aspiration as an organization this year.
Win a playoff game.
That's to find out if you got your franchise quarterback. That's what all of this was for.
I want to win a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. This year is just to find out if we have a franchise quarterback. Let's be honest here. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. Do we have a franchise quarterback? That's all this year is about. And we're either going to see a star or be disappointed. It's that simple. That's the only two things Dolphins can get. The fans are going to get out of this season. Finding out if we have the guy or we don't. All that other stuff is just things that might entice us along the way. If we want to be 100% honest, that's what this is about. All this other stuff.
I mean, I agree with Daniel. I think they want. I think they at least think they're a playoff team here, bro. Like, I don't think it's just which is going to identify that they either have their guy or they don't. Because I don't see a scenario where we don't make the playoffs and Tua is our franchise quarterback going forward.
Why not? It's possible.
What if they don't make the playoffs, Doug?
What if the defense is lights out and it's just like top 5 historically?
Yeah, we just missed the playoffs 2 years in a row by one game. How are we going to bring in this kind of talent and a more conducive coaching staff around that supports our players, and we do worse than we did last year?
We were talking about it before. You don't think Josh Boyer might be the problem? The defense takes a huge step back.
I don't think it's going to be on the defense. You know why?
I know, but I'm not predicting it will. But if you can't say that if we don't make the playoffs, it's definitely showing that.
No. There's scenarios where it's not, but it's not likely because even if this defense takes a step back, you brought too much in on this offense. Yeah. You brought too much in, and your guy, if he does take that next step, how are we not going to make the playoffs?
Same way that Justin Herbert hasn't made the playoffs yet.
Well, that ain't even close to the defense that we have. What he had.
But you
Justin Herbert was putting up 35 points and losing games.
But what I'm saying is you're coming with it like a definite, right? You're coming with it. If we
I'm
don't
not saying definite. I'm ignoring the one-offs. I'm ignoring the one-offs. I'm going with the norm.
TD is going with the odds likely. What is more likely to happen?
I'm not entertaining the one-offs because if that happens, we all will recognize it. But that's not likely. At the end of the day, this defense is not likely to be the 25th ranked defense this year. Would you all agree?
Let me give you this.
I hope not.
Since camp started, the passing game has been ahead of the run game. What if that just continues on through the season? We can't run the football. We can pass it, but we can't run worth a damn.
Well, that's another year. That's going
to stunt you.
That's another year we've wasted on the offensive line, and that would.
Then Tua has to carry us in the pass game. See, this is the thing. Oh, he needs a run game. He needs receivers. He needs great protection. All of those elements isn't always going to fly for. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but he's going to have to carry us in the pass game.
But a lot of those offenses, the thing is, a lot of the offenses that make the playoffs, though, run the football because running the football in the playoffs, it's almost everything.
But we're talking about getting there.
And I just said a lot of the teams in the playoffs, right, have good running games.
No, not Buffalo, not the Chiefs, the teams that's always at the top.
Buffalo was not a really good running team. I think you want to.
Josh Allen was the running game.
I think
and that's still a threat though.
Situationally, but
that we don't have.
Really, the passing game is what's going to get you there, which is why I'm kind of fine with them not being. You can't be like the 30th ranked Russian offense, but you got to be able to like what we saw this past weekend where they got to 2nd and 1 like near the red zone, and then they can't pick up 1 yard running the ball. Like that's not gonna fly.
Yeah, but Daniel, who do you put that on?
Hold on a sec. Wait, there's 16 teams that make the playoff. Y'all named 2, and the 2 y'all named, y'all picked 2 generational passers in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Nobody cares about the 16. It's about the 8. Well, it ain't the wild card week. Ain't nothing but money.
There's 8 in the AFC. 6 of those teams have a good run game.
Bro, it's about.
I thought we're playing the odds with this situation, right?
It's about the top 4. We can't.
Now let's keep moving it. Now it goes from the AFC.
No. It's about the 8. It's about the 8. But you said AFC, so now it's 4. That's what it's about. Who's getting
8 teams? What are we talking about here?
No, I'm talking about. It's not about the first round of the playoffs. That's a whole bunch of lottery. Hey, we made it in, but we about to get kicked out.
Oh, so
that's
now
what that's about.
Again, like now we're taking things.
Man,
now we're taking out first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Who hasn't seen the playoffs and hasn't seen a playoff win.
Let me tell you,
how many times?
That's the Dolphins symptom.
I was there live in 2016.
Well, I want to see the playoffs.
I don't want to just make the playoffs. I want to win a playoff game. That should be the goal.
The last time we went to the playoffs.
Let me ask you this. What would you rather, go home after week 17 or be watching football with your team playing on wild card weekend?
Of course, I'd rather not get blown out. I was there in negative 11 degree weather for that blown out.
Who said about getting blown out? I never said about getting
blown
out.
If you go back and look last year, 4 out of the first 6 games, wild card weekend, 4 out of 6, all blowouts. Go look at the scores. All blowouts. 4 out of 6 games.
But everybody wants to be in the playoffs. I'm not discounting that. We want to be in the playoffs. But the team, the true essence of a fan is wanting to have a chance to win it all. That's being in the playoffs. I get it. But let's talk about real shots here, man. You gotta be in the real dance, not the pre-dance. That's what the wild card weekend is to me, the pre-dance.
It's the play-in weekend.
Yes,
we don't care about the play-in weekend.
I'm just saying.
But again, now we're limiting it to what you said earlier. There's only 8 teams, in the
NFL.
Yeah, like
that. Well, I use those 8 teams as the baseline if you want to talk about real contenders comparison. I use the Josh Allen. I use the Patrick Mahomes as far as their run game.
Why are we talking about Tannehill, bro? I mean, he's only there because of the run
game. Same thing. He's only there because of the run game. But guess what? When they took the run game away, he couldn't carry.
Oh,
his
I never
team.
said. Hey, TD, did I say you don't have to do both? I never once said you don't have to do both.
What I'm saying is there may come a point where Tua has to carry us in the air.
The example y'all use with situational run games have like generational passers in the NFL right now. So, there's only one Josh Allen and there's only one Patrick Mahomes in the NFL last I checked, bro.
Then let's bring it back to Tannehill then. Why did they draft Malik Willis? That's why Tua's going to have to. If our run game doesn't do anything for us, in order for him to be our franchise quarterback, he's going to have to show that he can also carry us and make up the difference. He's going to have to, bro.
I didn't debate that, but my whole original point was a lot of these teams that make the playoffs have good run games. And my whole thing was, if this guy's the only thing, if the passing game is the only thing clicking and we can't run worth a lick, we can only do so much in offense because what our defense is going to do against any quarterback, not just Tua. If they know you can only pass the football and you can't run the football, what are they going to do?
They're just going to draw men in coverage.
They're just going to game plan against the pass, and they're going to take everything away from you.
And you got to still be able to make plays.
All right, I want to let you guys get some questions in your takes. And Doug, go ahead and give a question and any take you might have that you want to give to the panel.
A question. I don't even know. My brain is just been neuralized from listening. It's always fun. I love it. I love it when these two get together because I just sit back and I listen.
Because you just sit back and you listen.
Nice
you're like,
normally, Daniel, just so you know, normally when all of us get together, everyone's yelling and I'm just sitting here listening because I have a baby in the next room, so I can't yell. And it's very nice that me and you were just sitting here all calm.
Yeah, we just chilling in the back and letting them go at it.
Yeah, people in the chat are like, look at these two. And we're just like, you're gonna it's fun.
I'm waking people in the chat take it more personal than me and TD do though. That's what's crazy. I don't get it, bro.
We talk about that all the
ignore
time.
those people.
All right, Doug, go ahead, man.
But like
hit the like button too.
I'm trying to think of a question.
Skyler.
It's not Skyler.
I'm done with that debate.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll go. I do have a question for y'all. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about the linebackers. I love Sammy Guavon. I think that this linebacking core is personally, I think it's deep. I want to ask you guys, where do you see the linebacking core right now?
Deep of what, bro?
I mean, look, I like Channing
Like-
Tindall. Look, I know
Okay.
I know you don't like Jerome Baker. I get that. I understand that. But Jerome Baker's making this team, and he's still the leading tackler of this team the last 3 years.
Yeah, man. 110 tacks when 80 of them are beyond 3 or 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Hey,
I'm not saying you're wrong, and he's at the bottom of the league. And like, if you look at all the league,
I don't think,
NFL,
you know,
he's at the bottom.
like,
I get
think of this, man. Like, you know, like, I just don't think we have Channing Tindall might develop into that difference maker, but we don't have a difference maker. I mean, the best asset of Jerome Baker is his pursuit speed. It's not his instincts. It's not his ability to play through traffic. It's not his ability to shed through blocks because he can't do any of that stuff well. Landon Roberts is, again, kind of a one-dimensional, one-trick pony. We're looking for that Mike. We're looking for that all around. We can count on you in coverage. We can count on you to stuff. And let's be honest, Jerome Baker, when you look at this makeup, I truly think if we didn't have Jerome Baker's money on the books, Roquan Smith, I'd look into it. But I wouldn't look into Roquan Smith if I got to pay him $20 million. I got to pay Jerome Baker what I'm paying him, and I got to pay like $30+ million between two guys at that position. I don't know if I'm down for that. But you look around, I love Channing Tindall. I mean, he just didn't get enough with Tindall and his whole coverage stuff you saw at Georgia. He just didn't get enough reps. That's all that's going to take. He showed great instincts in the run game. You know what I mean? Crashing gaps, doing all that good stuff. I like Channing Tindall, but I also know it's not going to be this year, right? So
yeah, I know. I got you.
To be honest with you, the guy who I've liked the most so far in the preseason games, shout out to Duke Riley.
Yeah,
that man is around the ball. That man has been doing some great stuff. I've liked what I've seen because Sam Guavin, brother.
I love Sammy Guavin. I'm sorry, I like that guy.
Game, bro. That guy was whiffing on tackles like, bro. People had shields around them, bro.
First game.
Listen,
yeah. So
just stop. The interior linebackers are the worst unit on this team. I mean, with the exception of maybe O-line, I don't know. We got to see what they do this year. But just stop. The interior linebackers, I'm not talking about our edges, okay? Our interior linebackers are, I ain't sugarcoat, they're horrible. Every single one of them is one way faceted. Whatever one you want to give them.
I'm not counting Phillips and stuff because those are edge guys in our scheme. I'm not counting them as linebackers.
Sammy Guavin is a preseason all-star.
Yes, sir.
That you don't know who he is in the regular season.
Stop. Grant of linebackers,
last year. He scored a touchdown last year.
Doug, that's why do you think our first
like somebody else we were talking about and debating this year, huh?
Why do you think our first pick in the draft was an interior linebacker?
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm gonna go get my Sammy Guavin jersey.
And he's
you actually paid for that?
My wife brought it for me for Christmas.
Oh, did you get jersey insurance, bro?
I got to.
But she's a Ravens fan, right, Steven?
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
She has to be if she's giving you that jersey, bro.
Yes, she is.
Listening right now. She's gonna be back.
She a Ravens fan.
She's not a Ravens fan. She grew up in Mississippi. She grew up as a Jerry Rice fan because that's her cousin. She was a 49ers fan growing up.
So I got a question.
Baltimore. Jerome Baker got a contract for being Brian Flores' boy who did everything he was supposed to do. And I'm with that. Get your money, young fella. I'd never talk about anybody getting their money. I'm happy he got his cash. But come on. If he got that money, what you think we gonna have to give Christian Wilkins?
A bag and a half.
What do you think we gonna have to give Christian Wilkins? Man, they set a bad precedent with that contract. He is scheme specific. That's why he has some decent numbers because of our scheme. Jerome Baker don't want to run through traffic. Let's be honest. Jerome Baker is the Mike Gesicki of the defense when it comes to blocking in reverse. He ain't trying to go through nobody to get from point A to B. He only taking a straight line if it's there. Other than that, he ain't going through traffic. He doesn't. Let's be honest. Jerome Baker is benefiting from this scheme, as many players on this defense are, but we don't talk about it. When you put 7 guys at the line of scrimmage, there's always going to be a free rusher. That's why Brandon Jones' numbers are so high. Javon Holland's numbers are so high. Jerome Baker's numbers are so high, because go look at the film, how many free rushes they get coming at the quarterback. That's scheme specific because of the 0. Yep. That's all it is. It's not off of pure grit of fighting through. It's not. It's not at all. Man, we need some real linebackers.
All right, Doug, go ahead. Go ahead, Doug. What's your question?
So
what do you
we all
got?
feel like there's certain areas on this team that need addressing. Like me and Reason constantly talking about the center position and how they should just take Connor Williams, put him back at left guard. We're all in agreement with the middle linebacker situation. There's all of these, like, we'd like to add these pieces. So my question to you guys, realistically, what addition would you like to do before the season starts? Realistically. And I'm saying realistically, it's not like go get Patrick Mahomes. Like, realistically, what one addition?
I want to trade Gesicki for a and maybe somebody else. Gesicki and one other person. I'm not exactly who sure that would be, for a starting
Eric
caliber
McCoy.
offensive lineman.
Eric McCoy, New Orleans. Boom.
Y'all need to leave Mike Gesicki alone. Tua is going to need
I want to
him.
trade Gesicki and bring in a starting caliber offensive lineman.
Tua's going to need that man, Steven.
By starting caliber offensive lineman, do you mean center?
Yeah.
Because the ripple effect of that starting caliber center sends Connor to left guard, and now Austin Jackson is only your weak link, and he's showing you, give myself the Barry Horowitz, that he's going to be at least competent in this offense at that position. So, I mean, the ripple effect of that start, and all of a sudden now Liam Eichenberg can be a swing tackle or swing guard.
Realistically, Reason, who can we go out and get trading Gesicki? Like, it would be Gesicki.
Buddy, go get Eric McCoy. Dude, Eric McCoy's about to be up. They drafted Cesar Ruiz a couple of years back. He can play guard and center. They could kick him into center. They always loved, especially the tight ends in New Orleans. If you can make the money work, they can. If anyone can make the money work, it's New Orleans.
Look, I think Gesicki would look good. I mean, the other place I was looking at was Green Bay to send him, because I feel like he would kill in Green Bay. Gesicki.
Y'all need to
do very well with him.
You just got to get better than a third. The thing is, they pigeonholed themselves where you're going to get a compensatory pick anyways. So now you need to get a player or a pick of higher value or equal a value of that third you're going to get anyways.
I have no comment, because I'm not trading Gesicki. He's not a fit in this system, but Tua will need him.
So what would you do, though? So what do you want to do?
I'll just go spend some of this freaking money we got and go get a center. Now, like Reason said, you got Eichenberg, who can play both tackle positions and guard.
JC Treader?
Man, as long as it's a quality center, and there's like 2 to 3 options out there. So JC Treader and a few others.
So why are they not signed yet if they're so quality? That's my next question to you.
Well, I mean, you still got a lot of veterans that aren't signed as quality. Some of it is money, some of it is, age. But there's still quality to come in for a year and do the job. That's just what you get at this time of the year. But let's be honest, it's all Chris Grier. Chris Grier won his $21 million, and he's going to try to find a way to get 25. I know he's kicking himself in the butt right now, because low key, I know he's trying to move on from Eric Rowe, but with these secondary injuries, he probably mad because he's gonna have to keep Eric Rowe. I know he wanted to save that $4.5 million. I mean, Chris Grier knows that we're negative 31 million as of right now next year in the salary cap. You can move things, but you got Christian Wilkins coming up. You got other things that you got to deal with. That's why he's holding that money close to his vest right now.
All right,
because he's going to have to move it forward.
Reason the question that Doug posed, that what do you want to do right now?
Before I answer that, can I ask Daniel? I got to ask you this question, because you're in around the team. You get a sense of things. You don't have to say you confirm it. Are you getting the sense that once they moved Connor Williams to center, that they don't have any inclination to bring in a center that will compete for starting minutes? I mean, we looked at the three guys on that list they brought in when Dieter went down. And I mean, show me a list of guys you don't want to compete for starting minutes without showing me a list of guys you don't want to compete for starting minutes. And when I said that to someone, I was told, hey, the basic idea is when they signed Connor, and they moved him there. There was no intention of bringing someone in to compete for starting minutes. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because you're around the situation.
Yeah, I mean, so if you ask them, they'll say that, we just signed, like McDaniel said, we just signed Connor Williams as an offensive lineman. And then over time, once we started getting him in the building, we said, hey, let's try this out. But I mean, we just follow the trail and just look back. Like Dieter was kind of like exiled out of the starting lineup. I mean,
yeah,
he has not been given an opportunity to compete. I know there's limits on exactly what I can report, but I can tell you he has not been given an opportunity to compete. And obviously he had the injuries pop up. And again, like you said, that list of tryout guys, that's not a list of like legitimate starting caliber. Those were just kind of like Skyrim for depth options.
Yeah.
So I think that, we can talk in hypotheticals all day long. We just got to look at the reality.
Yeah.
Connor Williams is going to be a starting center for better or for worse.
Yeah.
High snap Connor.
I mean, why is that? Why wouldn't they bring in somebody of a higher caliber?
You know what took me off, boys, and really made me like ask around and like try to figure this out? Because let's forget Treader. Matt Paradis is still out there. Yep. People seem to forget in that zone that they ran in Denver. Philip Lindsay had those 2 great years with Matt Paradis at center. I mean, and that's a guy you could have brought in, got around the team, and then he's healthy for week 1 and he can kick off. And they just aren't looking at any legitimate options.
Why?
That means that the writing's on the wall.
They believe
in him, bro. I think they believe in Connor Williams.
They don't believe. Listen, they're doing what they have to do. It's their job to coach the personnel that Chris Greer allowed them. This is the issue that we ran into. You have too many draft assets in the last 3 years. Something has to work out. So you need to work Eichenberg, Jackson, Solomon Kinley, Robert Hunt, Dieter. You need to figure out this O-line. I'm going to get you 2 weapons on this O-line. Use it how you please. But the rest of them, you need to make 3 out of those 5 fit. So what did he do? He went and got Armstead. You couldn't ask for any better. And he went and got Connor, and that's solid in the interior. You can't ask for any better. So Mike McDaniel's basically like, this is all I'm getting. So I have to finagle this for my best benefit. So I can understand why he's taking this approach. Because if this is all you're allowed and you can't go out and get anything else, is it really that bad of a idea what they're doing?
But it's not working out, bro. It's not.
Steven, it's all you got. You got to deal with that.
But
this is what your general manager.
It's not like our hands are tied behind our back and we can't. We have cap room. We got trade assets. We can go make other moves.
Mike McDaniel ain't got cap room.
This is something I've theorized since they brought McDaniel in. I've said it so many times. The exact thing I said is everyone was always focused on they brought in McDaniel to fix Tua. I said, don't think in that interview that they didn't show what's your list of candidates on your coaching staff. All that you look down our coaching staff, none of those guys are really, in talks to get. Maybe John Emery had secret talks, but no one really had open talks to fill any roles for any other teams. So I said, I guarantee they looked at those names on that list, Frank Smith, Matt Applebaum, what McDaniel's done. And they said, listen, we've got an extra 3rd invested in Eichenberg. Can you make him work? And we took a top 20 pick in Austin Jackson. Can you make him work? If not, we will move off of him, just like they would probably say with Tua if he's really running out Tua. And we'll go get your guys the next year to finish it off. The issue you're about to run into is this is not as strong of a specifically tackle class as it has been the last 2 years. The interior is all right, but it's not as strong across the board. I mean, it's pretty strong at center, but it's not across the board at guard and tackle. It's not overly strong like it has been the last couple of years. So they picked kind of the worst time to do it, if you really think about it.
Yeah, them bringing in another lineman is basically saying we don't believe in any of you, the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
All 4 of y'all can fight for right tackle. And that's too much draft capital to waste.
Let's ask Daniel this. I don't know how much he can say, but here's a great question for Daniel. Here's a fantastic one. Just based off everything you've seen, what would you feel more comfortable with? Dieter at center, and you can go back to last year. Dieter at center and Connor at left guard, or Connor at center and Eichenberg at left guard? What if you were the coach or GM? What would you feel comfortable based on what you've seen the last 2 years? Not even just this training camp.
Well, I think that the overarching belief is that Dieter doesn't really have the athleticism to execute. I mean, and truth be told, Dieter's not like a a prototypical center. I mean,
he's not. Yeah,
he's really like an interior guard.
He's a guard.
Yeah, he's a guard. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like a choosing, the two evil between two evils. I don't know. I think that kind of the snaps are an issue. I mean that's there's no way around that. I mean the way it's in. I can't say it's gotten like tremendously better. Hasn't it probably improved? Probably, but I'm worried that we're gonna get into a game and a snap is gonna be the reason why
on a timing play.
Yeah, on a timing play, it's gonna in a key moment it's gonna be the reason why.
It almost happened to Skyler. Right?
And I'm ready to blame Tua, baby.
So can somebody please explain to me?
We know
if you're a front office or you're a head or you're a coaching staff, why you will be okay with going into this season with that as your center, because I feel like that's like I don't understand how they would be okay with
because you've invested money.
Too much investment.
They invested money. I mean, when you place money and draft picks into that, you become tied to it and you have to make it work.
So Daniel, with that being said, do you still think that Noah makes this team?
Well, yeah, because first off, I mean, who else is going to play corner? And second of all, there's cap implications to that.
You'd have to trade him,
and nobody's trading for Noah. I mean,
no, they killed that value with all the tape they put out. Good for them.
I gotta defend Noah. Can I be the only person?
No.
Y'all gotta allow me.
No.
Hear me out. Just hear me out, please.
Here we go.
I think that, okay, we know Noah has been badly struggling, okay? Yeah. But let me defend him for a second. It's the same Jakeem Grant effect, in my opinion. Listen, when he's guarding the number 4s, he's fine. He's fine. But no, listen to me. That's suspect too. But just hear me out overall.
Daniel just said you were at practice too in the Tampa.
They didn't have Julio Jones.
Yeah, but that Johnson.
Daniel,
Johnson for the Raiders. No, Johnson for the Raiders, not Tyler Johnson from Minnesota.
Daniel, hold your tongue for Noah's sake, all right,
bro.
Hey man,
dude, what is Johnson for the Raiders? That's like I don't even know if that's their number 4, bro, for the Raiders. The guy that was eating them.
I'm just saying. Here's my thing. I think sometimes a guy has to be the number 1 or number 2, and that ain't where he belongs. So when he getting toasted all day, we make that his official evaluation. Yeah, he gets beat by 4s, but it ain't as worse as when he's playing with the 2s and 3s all the time.
Beat, bro.
But let's stop evaluating him on a Byron and X scale. Let's evaluate
the irony of how harsh you are on Tua, and now I'm hearing this about Noah. Bro,
I tried.
You didn't know, but you really didn't.
Nobody's comparing Noah to X and Byron, but as a former first-round pick, I mean, there's an expectation, and after 3 years, an expectation. Yeah, after 3 years of your first-round pick,
2 years.
No, this is
third year now.
His third year.
Well, yeah, it ain't over though.
I expect
it ain't getting better, TD. All right,
a starting caliber player. He hasn't shown that improvement. I mean, we got to be real.
Y'all some Noah haters, man.
He's not a starting caliber cornerback.
Sure, but I know he's not a starting caliber cornerback, and I know that we're basing it off of a first round pick. But when you are what you are.
That's
maybe he
doesn't make this team.
He's not a number 4 corner in the NFL on the team.
Not on our team.
Saying number 4 cornerback. I don't think of it as number 4. He can't play in the slot, and he struggles on the boundary. I mean, that's
they should have just been putting him as safety.
Left bench. That sounds like left bench or right water boy, bro. If you can't play this boundary, or you can't play this slot.
Center bench, guard the water, and anybody come gets the water, you tackle.
You want to hear the truest thing you'll ever hear about a cornerback? If you got a cornerback, if you got a cornerback and a team is continuously picking on him, it's time to get a new cornerback. Bro, did y'all watch Jarrett Stidham? That man, every time his head snapped when he dropped back,
was looking at Noah. Was looking at Noah's way, bro.
Noah hasn't had the support from his coaches. They've been sabotaging him.
Nick Needham was the UDFA and they turned him into a legit number 3. I don't want to hear it, bro.
If Tua gets to use that excuse, Noah does too.
Nah, bro.
No, because
Elijah Campbell's a bit higher than him, bro.
Mike McDaniel is sabotaging Noah because he's a Flores guy. He's a Flores guy, and he's putting him with the 1 so that he can justify moving on.
Can I say this, though? In all seriousness, can I say this, though? This is when I knew it was over. This is when I knew. Last year when Danny Crossman didn't want anything to do with him on special teams, when you got a player you invested that kind of capital in, if you can't get him to break the starting lineup, you put him on special teams to get live reps and to get game action. And Danny Crossman didn't even want anything to do with them. I'm like, yo, he done. Because Danny Crossman's still here.
This is when I knew. This is when I knew it was over.
So even with all the injuries,
he's a zone guy. I think the only thing you could get him into the zone, and even then, I don't think he has the readability.
Even with all these injuries, and there's a lot.
He's corner 5 now. Listen, if our whole room is healthy right now, all right, let's go through it. X, right? Byron. Needham, Trill, Keon Crossan, Elijah Campbell, Noah Igbinoghene. Am I wrong?
Yeah, when we were in Tampa, this is when I knew it was over for Noah. He had got beat on a corner route in the back of the end zone. And
was it that step where that guy did that jab step and then took off and he was in the dust?
Bro, all I remember seeing is Noah face down in the dirt. And no, it wasn't the fact that he went face down. He intentionally dropped down face down. He was demoralized. He dropped down.
That's not funny then.
He banged his head. He banged his head in his hand.
Yeah.
He's frustrated.
He's got no confidence either now.
And I feel bad. I feel bad for him. I ain't gonna lie.
His confidence is done. All right. So this is what I've heard tonight from a lot of you on the panel. Our starting 11 on offense and our starting 11 on defense, we're good.
Skyler, yeah.
Our depth.
8 of 11 on offense. Let's throw a number like that. You know what I mean? 8 of 11, 9 of 11 on offense. We're good. All right.
Okay.
Is it?
Well, I'm not giving Eichenberg and I'm not giving Jackson the pass yet. So I'll go 9 of 11.
9 of 11 on offense, 8 of 11 on defense.
I'm gonna hit you with this. Durham Smythe, tight end 1 in this scheme. Holla at your boy. All right, let's go.
Hey, I love that you said that because I've been saying that on my morning show for like months now.
He's only going to get better.
Best tight end on this roster right now.
You can do the most with him in this offense. He's the most complete for this offense right now.
Reason agreed with me. Thank you. I appreciate that reason. I will be using that later.
Sure.
Because I've been saying Durham Smythe's
the best tight end on this roster. For our scheme and what we want to do, he is the most complete guy we have in that room right now.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good, sir. All right. So let's be honest. What do you expect from the team this year then? I'm not asking you to do a record prediction. I know you're going to do that on your channels in the next couple of weeks. I'm just asking you to keep it real with the fans right now. What do you expect from the Miami Dolphins in 2022? Around the horn.
9 wins.
He goes right into record prediction.
I know.
I mean, we've done nothing but talk about the ins and outs of the team, technically. 9 wins.
I want them to be competitive. I want them to compete. I want, but that's always been the Dolphins forever. It's, oh, look, this team is going to struggle this year. This team is not going to have this many wins. Come November, we're still competing for the playoffs. That's Miami Dolphin football. As much as, some of us Dolphin fans are skeptical and some of them are pessimists, some of them are optimists. That's Miami Dolphin football. It's always, we started 1-7 and then come November, December, we're in playoff run. At one point, we were the 7th seed. Like, that's just Dolphin football. But I want it to continue. I don't want it to be all of a sudden we had 2 back-to-back winning seasons, which is fine and dandy, but it equated to nothing. I want the competition to keep going. I just don't want it to die out. That's my expectation. I want them to compete. I want everyone on this team to do well. It's not about Tua versus Skyler. It's not about any of these it's so dumb. I want to win. So that's my expectation. Compete, win.
I feel like that's your hope. I feel like that's your hope. I feel like that's all their hope.
Is you go 10 wins.
So you're expecting to hope that they're going to do good.
No, it's my expectation because you go 10 wins and then 9 wins. You should be competing. You should be in every single game. I don't care what the first 4 games look like. Going against the Patriots.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's no swear jar tonight. There's no swear jar.
Let it roll, Doug.
Yeah,
I thought it was coming, bro. Come on.
Daniel, no, that's on your channel when I can curse. I can't curse on this channel.
All right, Daniel, go ahead, man.
Nah, man.
You guys are great.
I mean, really, repeat the question again. I was going to say, I know.
Because so what do you expect from this team this year? What is your expectations of the 2022 Miami Dolphins?
I mean, I expect them to be more competitive against the best teams in the NFL because I think that, and you know, I didn't get the opportunity to bring it up last year, but I think that to an extent there was a bit of fool's gold over the course of last year. You know, with that second half run, yeah, it was good that they were able to turn around and beat teams, but a lot of those teams just were not
scheduled.
I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Every win counts the same, but they're not created equal. So like they're beating up a lot of backup quarterbacks. Like, yeah, of course. And even the defensive stats and kind of the way we perceive the defense is a bit inflated because, I mean, some of the offenses and the quarterbacks that they were playing, I mean, they just kind of got to run it up. I mean, I'm a big efficiency guy, and I remember Football Outsiders was saying that if you completely just took out the Saints game where they Ian Book couldn't move the ball at all. I mean, if you take out the Saints game, the Dolphins were like a league average defense, and then you also count all the other kind of like garbage quarterbacks that they played over the second half of the season. This was more of the 16th to 17th ranked defense as opposed to like 12, 11, 10. So again, you know, you have the questions about Brian Flores and his departure and how much that will kind of, you know, impact the defense and obviously the depth questions at cornerback. And then on offense with all the additions they made. I mean, I expect them to be more competitive. I mean, you got to be more competitive in Buffalo. When you play Cincinnati in week 3 or whenever it is, or week 4, you got to be more competitive. You got that December slate where you're playing San Francisco, the Chargers,
Green Bay,
Buffalo, and Green Bay.
Yeah, you got to be competitive. I mean,
it's a tough December.
Yeah, you can't fall flat. I mean, they only beat one playoff team last year, and that was the Patriots. I'm not expecting much from the Patriots this year. I really didn't think much of the Patriots last year, even when they made the playoffs. So you got to be more competitive, not only just week to week, but against, you know, the best teams in the NFL. Because again, I mean, when we get down to week 15, 16, 17, 18, those tiebreakers are gonna be important. So you got to win. You got to beat Baltimore. You got to beat the Baltimore. You got to beat the Cincinnati. You got to beat the Los Angeles Chargers. Those teams to be in the hunt and then make the playoffs.
And being more competitive don't even mean you win.
I mean, of course. I mean, if you're a fan, you want them to win. But yeah, I mean, again, like
don't get blown out.
The Tennessee game after a while wasn't even competitive. You know, when they played some of these, like the Buffalo games haven't really been competitive outside of like a half last year. You just got to be competitive. I mean, you got to, you know, there's levels to it, and you got to really prove that you're on that next tier.
Reason, what is your expectations of the Miami Dolphins in 2022?
So I look around with the personnel added. I expect Tua to become a top 12 quarterback. If he doesn't, then he has not met my expectations, and I'll be disappointed in him. I expect us to be able to run the football and have a much better offense and cohesive offense than we've seen the last 2 years. If I don't see that, I will be disappointed in Mike McDaniel. I expect to see that defense I saw in the last half of last year. You know why? Because Josh Boyer's out here claiming that he called the defense in 2020. And that was when we were at our most aggressive. So I expect our defense to be aggressive, and I expect it to perform. If you want to know what I expect a playoff win this year. And anything less, and I'm disappointed. And I'll just, and I mean, hey, you know, I started doing this in 2019 with TD, and we started on the Tuesday night panel. And I said from then, before we even drafted Tua, I said, I don't care if it's Burrow, Herbert, Tua, whoever, I give quarterbacks 3 years. And when I look at what he's done with what he's had, and now I look at what he's had, I expect more of what he should be able to do. And that's why when he's given me flashes and he's given me middle of the pack play with not very much, I expect you to be top 12 with what we've started to surround you with. Because guess what? All I'm asking for this offensive line, I'm not asking for top 20. Give me 22 like what the Bengals had last year.
They made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, get in and around.
They had 9 sacks in a playoff game and still won the playoff game.
Well, see, the thing is, a lot of those things with those sacks could be labeled on Burrow because he's not really good at making his hot reads right now, especially in that game. Like 6 or 7 of those were on him not making his hot read. But I digress. So those are the things I expect. And if I don't see all those different things, I will be disappointed in the players and the coaches I named.
All right, I want everybody to hit the like button. Over 500 people in the room, over 225 likes. Let's hit the like button.
Hey, Steven,
yes.
One last thing that we haven't talked about. Mike McDaniel's going to be a huge factor this season too. First time play caller. That's an element that everybody just automatically give credit to, but we don't know what to expect. We don't know if that's going to be a good thing. It could be a disaster. We have no clue, but that is one area where we got to keep our eyes on that. And when we evaluate these games, you know, what was his impact positively or negatively? You know, so that's something that I'm going to be paying attention to very closely.
Can I say this though? I know it's been vanilla, but I've liked what I've seen early on from him in a play calling standpoint. Like that first game where we ran 3 different looks out of that offset I formation. Like, you know, I've already, even though it's been vanilla, I've even seen him calling stuff with purpose with a vanilla offense. So here you go. I'll add this. I expect him to be a good play caller. And if he isn't, I will be disappointed in him, bro. So,
he's the reason we won that preseason game, you know? Timeout.
Yeah, icing it,
bro. I hope he didn't use our 1 get out of free jail ticket for the regular season, bro. I really hope he didn't.
Daniel, you know,
but TD's right, because a lot of us do overlook that it's a first-time head coach. But we look at the roster, we look at the returning defensive staff, we look at the offensive staff additions. A lot of them are guys he could lean on that Flores didn't have, like the Embreys and such, who have been around that he can lean on that Flores didn't have because for whatever reason, except Daryl Bevell, I'd still say that is the best signing in the offseason, the most 100%. Underrated. I mean, that's the guy who wanted Skylar Thompson, from what I understand. So all you Skylar Thompson fans, you should be sending Christmas cards. So. And I'm a fan of Skylar Thompson. I'll be sending a Christmas card to Daryl Bevell. So I think that was one of the we got an offensive coordinator, a guy who's been an interim head coach as our quarterback coach. And you look at his resume, another reason why, if Tua ain't gonna come with this, when you look around him, if he ain't gonna show you he's it under Daryl Bevell, he ain't it, bro.
Well, I want to mix this up real quick, and I wanted to start with Daniel because he's there and he knows the personality of Mike McDaniel better than all of us probably. If Tua did struggle, do you ever see Mike McDaniel pulling him?
I don't get the sense that we're going to see that. I think that everything we've seen this past couple months have been about empowering Tua. If he gets really, really bad, I mean, sometimes you got to make a tough decision, and I think that.
But
will he do it though, Dan?
I hate to take a bag out of McDaniel's car, but you never want to speak in absolutes. Like, you just never know. I mean, you know, I don't think that he'd go in, like, I don't think he'd like snatch out Tua for a drive and be like, all right, I'm gonna throw Teddy in there. Like he's not gonna do it for it. Like, he's really in the business of empowering him.
Daniel, no more fourth and ones with Jacoby Brissett, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if Teddy got that in the bag, so I don't think so.
Teddy 2 gloves.
I know a lot of
like Daniel, like if we're 0-6 and this guy's struggling and the season's lost, okay.
He still ain't doing it. He still ain't doing it. I
have been on record. I have been on record to say that
if we're 0-6 and TD's struggling,
if
we're 0-6 and Tua is struggling, buddy, I'll drive down to Miami and make sure he goes and puts him in, bro.
It ain't happening, man. It's not happening.
I don't think it's gonna happen though.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Doug Reason and TD. I know, you know, sometimes we'll catch some flack. We don't watch the guys every day. We're not there every day. I get that. I understand.
I get a lot of flack about that.
So why I have Daniel on real quick, and I appreciate you guys staying over. Is there anything you want to ask Daniel real quick before, you know?
Can I just stick up for me and Doug for a sec? Because I know TD gets to go there and Daniel gets to go there because me and Doug had this conversation. Do people not realize how many videos I've seen every Skylar Thompson, Teddy Bridgewater, and Tua throw from every practice y'all have been at, and I didn't have to leave Canada, okay? So don't think me and Doug don't see everything, because you got people sending us stuff in the emails and Instagram and Twitter DMs all day. So trust me, we see all the throws. So anyways, there you go. I just wanted to say
video I got was the person filming the security telling people to not film the practice.
Bro, you see it all the time.
That video might as well be all 22, man. when they let the fans in there, I mean, they got every single angle.
Bro, I'm ready for the joint practices, bro. I'm ready for my inbox to fill up tomorrow. Let's go. I can't wait to see what happens, bro.
Well, I got a question for Daniel, and this is more so of what you do, the coverage of the team, okay? Because, you know, one of the big topics has been conflicting reports and things of that nature. Do you find yourself scratching your head sometimes because of what, like, your colleagues write is totally opposite of what you saw?
I mean, training camp observations. If you're asking about that, I mean, I've talked about it with Steven a lot. Like we all have different vantage points. We all look at different things. So sometimes you do have conflicts. You know, I try not to like engage in groupthink. You know, I try to have a free mind. But like, you know, I mean, I'll be honest. Like during practice, I do sit next to a couple of reporters, and I'll be like, "What did you see there? What did you see there?" Because again, I'm not going to be able to watch every single thing, especially when they're on the far field, and you gotta use the binoculars all the time. I mean, you're definitely not going to be able to see stuff. But no, I mean, again, I think that's like the beauty of the beat, that like everyone has like different opinions. Like if you talk to each different person, like there might be some commonalities and places where we agree, but we disagree a lot on a lot of stuff. So I think it makes covering the team even more fun, because I can go back and forth. It's like we can have a conversation like we're having right now. I have that with the guys on the beat every single day, where we're going back and forth on different things. So it really makes it more fun. Of course, there's some times where I'm like, what are you talking about? But it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
Every time you read an Elaine Poupar article, eh? Listen,
that's my guy. That's my guy.
No, I get along with him. I had him on the show, but you know, we start bringing out passer ratings and completion percentages, you know, near the end of training camp, and not through the whole training camp. It's a little sus. You know what I mean? Anyways, bro, I gotta give you props. You and Barry Jackson's coverage. I actually subscribed to the Miami Herald because of it. And David Furones, and I know people feel what they feel about Omar, but David and Omar, I think you four have been the most objective and the best coverage. So I have to give you props that I have you up here, man. Been fantastic stuff, man. I just had to say that. Like, I actually put money out of my pockets for, you know, news when everyone says the news is dead, but you guys' coverage has been out of this world. So it's worth it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for not having this. Thank you so much for not having like this love fest for certain players and just keeping it straight down what it is.
It's objective, man.
Hey,
so
Daniel,
I do favor a couple players. I don't let it.
Not Noah.
Hey, Noah.
You'd be surprised. Daniel and I have had some major arguments on the morning show about Noah.
Weeks for me with Noah. It's been a couple rough weeks.
It has been. I'll give you that.
Know Noah better than X. Y'all need to stop playing.
Daniel, I want to ask you the same thing. I know you don't get a chance to talk to a lot of the YouTubers and the content creators here. Is there anything you want to ask any of the content creators on here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously you guys are content creators, but you know, at the end of the day, you guys are, you know, fans and supporters of the Dolphins as well. So I mean, I always, you know, I communicate with fans on social media and whatnot, but I always like to see like, what can I do better? Like, what do you want from, you know, the beat coverage? Because again, like I don't really do it for like self gratification. I do it to help, you know, the fans and supporters of the team. So I guess that's the question. Like, what do you want to see moving forward from the coverage to like really, you know, complement and enhance, you know, your view of the team?
Doug.
See, that's one thing.
Throws it on Doug.
Doug, you go ahead and take that one, bud.
But I follow literally like all of you guys, because like you said, when you're at training camp and you get all the different perspectives, and that's why I follow you guys. So I think you guys kill it, and you guys work real hard. Like, obviously us doing what we do, we work hard in our aspect, and you guys work incredibly hard at your aspect. So there's not really anything I could say that I'd be like, hey, Daniel, you need to do a little bit better on this, or maybe a little bit quicker on. Like, you guys kill it. So, and like, I just appreciate what you guys do, because again, I'm up in Jersey, Reasons in Canada. Without you guys tweeting out all this stuff,
I'm in Baltimore.
Screw you, Dan. You don't do anything. Without you guys,
I'm not down in Florida, guy. Just so you know.
People like us that, you know, report on camp every day don't really have much. So I got nothing.
And I will say, just like, I appreciate that. I will say, like I'm not immune to criticism. I know I'm not perfect. You know, I see the fan, like I see Dolphins.
That's why I asked the questions. I wanted you to ask them, and I wanted them to ask you, because I know the fans see it differently.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think people need to understand. I think this is something all beat writers can do, and it's not doing better on a consistent basis, but maybe have an opportunity like once a year where people really understand what your job is and what you can and what you can't do. Like, I know one question everybody debates about. Are you limited on what you can, like your coverage? Like, you can see trash on the field, but are you limited in how you present what you see?
Well, I mean, for training camp, yeah, the Dolphins and most teams have, you know, limits, and they permit you to, prohibit you from reporting certain stuff. So yeah, I can't say first team and exactly where certain guys are lining up. But I mean, I don't really care about that because we're gonna see it. We see it in the preseason games. We're gonna see it in the regular season games.
But yeah, your opinion on what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I talked about Steven a lot. Like I'm a beat writer, so it's not necessarily my job to like opine as much as maybe some other people did, maybe like as much as Omar did, or maybe as much as Greg Cody does, or other people like that. But also you got to remember, like we're in a relationship oriented business too. I think that there's ways to be fair and honest, but also be like tactful and like do it with class. A guy might not be playing well, but a fan or somebody might say that guy's trash, but like I'm not necessarily gonna.
Some of your colleagues don't agree with that same motto, just so you know.
I mean, again, I'll say it again. We're in a relationship-oriented business, and that doesn't mean that like we have to like sugarcoat things. But I think that just in general,
tread lightly.
But you're also going to get farther.
Not even tread lightly, but just like the way you go about things. I think that there's class and there's a way to.
Don't TD Phins talking.
It's okay, yo, dude.
Honest and reporting as well.
You got to walk the fine line between critiquing and being critical. That's what you got to find.
What is that line though? Reason to be fair, Reason. I agree with you 100%. But what is that line? Because that they're TD supporters, they're Doug supporters,
if you start calling them trash
supporters
and stuff,
yeah.
But if you're
I mean, theoretically, I could call the team trash, but it's like, again, I think that
that ain't gonna get you far with the Dolphins in the long run, though.
And just the way I operate, I think that there's like I don't have to call them trash, like for you to know that they're trash if they're trash. Like I can just say,
we'll already know it. We don't need you to tell us, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
we have eyes. We can make our assessment.
But I think like if you can critique like since I started my channel, everything like I'm film based, and if you want to critique, you know what I mean? And if it's a little bit of a harsh critique, but you got the film to back it up, I mean, what can anyone really say to you? I think it's when you start like some people, in this community, they get overcritical, but they start making it a little bit more of a personal thing instead of a performance thing,
I never
want
to make it personal. I never want to make it like again, because I cover a game for a living. Like I don't take myself seriously, but at the end of the day, I'm still covering like humans, like behind
exactly
people. So again, there's a tactfulness to like go about your reporting and go about the business with it.
Like I know you asked what you could do better, bro, but I got to give you props for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because listen, again, as a guy who's purely film based out here, whether it's collegiate or NFL level, dude, I love your film. You actually do film breakdown articles, and you're the only one. I know a lot of people don't agree with Omar Kelly and his takes with like Jesse Davis and such, but at least, Omar Kelly put in the work by watching the film and stuff. When I see, another reason why I subscribe to you guys is when I saw you doing film-based articles, dude, keep that stuff up because that's what we're missing. And that's been my biggest critique of these older guys. When I'm talking about like you, David, I think Barry's good though, so I'm not putting him in there.
Barry Jackson's good. I like Barry.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's my favorite on the beat, man. He's the best. And anyways,
Daniel's
like
my favorite.
good.
Daniel's my favorite on the beat.
You guys, you and David are good. Cam's good, Marcel's good, but the one thing that I think was missing, and that would make, especially because of YouTube and what we've been doing, because we've been doing film-based stuff since like 2020 now. They want to know, and they want validation that you know what you're talking about, not that you got the job because you know what to put the period. You know what I mean? And like some guys in that industry come off as they are covering the team because they know where to put the period and the exclamation point. They don't know ball the way we want them to know ball. And if people are gonna, especially when newspapers is a dying industry, you better know that craft inside and out if you're going to talk to, because you're going to have to lure us in. Listen, a lot of us don't have a lot of time, so when we're going to watch something, we're going to read something, it has to be teaching us something. If it's not teaching us something, we don't have enough time with our families and with our own stuff to really indulge, right? Because we want to learn. So you doing
that's why we're doing this panel at 9 o'clock at night, so I can get Doug in. That's exactly why, because otherwise there'd be no way to get Doug.
Exactly.
When I work.
So you got to get props because you're the only one I know that's done that so far. Keep that stuff up, man. Keep it up. I love that stuff.
I appreciate it. I mean, like when I first came on the beat, like I understood that everyone kind of had the different lanes. I just wanted to be like authentic with it, and really, like you said, teach. Like I wanted to teach people, like you can all get the notifications, and you know, you have a whole bunch of places to get your information from. But if I can like teach you something that you didn't know, you know, a day before, I feel like that makes my content worthwhile. So I appreciate that.
Sir.
Good observation. Good observation, Reason, man, because you hit it right on the head. People who actually put some care and time into their craft and know what they're talking about versus, like he said, the guy who knows where to put the period. Because sometimes, and I'll just be honest, it's like you're just a beat writer. Not you. I'm just saying it's like certain guys. It's like you're just it's as casual as can be. I'll just put it like that. Yeah. But then whenever you get reference to you can see, you know, which writers actually.
Some people are good at making headlines. They're really good at making headlines.
You know, the writers who actually are looking for a specific thing versus just going to practice and saying, oh, there was a bomb throw today.
Exactly.
This person threw that bomb. But, you know, when you get into more detail about, you know, this player in the trenches is just killing them. He's hitting them with the swim. He's hitting them with the power. He's, you know, more in depth. People who care about their craft versus just writing, and that's
good. I mean, I hear what you're saying,
and Daniel, I just got to say this too, off of what TD said, because everyone in this community will look at it. Everyone in this community is looking for the eyes to trust in the Dolphins mainstream media. We're all looking for the South Floridian eyes to trust at camp. That we don't have to go there. We know Daniel's there. We could trust his eyes and what he reports and what he sees. We've been looking for that for years. And by you doing this film breakdown stuff, that's allowing us to trust you and your reporting when we can't be there at these closed sessions for you guys. So
and it also stuff, man. And it also allows us to trust you, because even if the team prohibits you from saying certain things,
I can just point
you can point to stuff on film and you can be like, well, this is why I have this opinion, or this is why I go to it. So you don't have, you know, and so that's why I was always that's why you were the one I wanted on the morning show, was because of that. So yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, and when you were talking, when you were asked about, you know, what can you say and what can't you say, and you know, like you said, you can come out and be like, oh, so and so's trash and this guy's this, but that's not going to get you anywhere, especially when it comes to that player. Because, like, say you say, like, oh, Gesicki's trash, he's not blocking for crap, and he should be cut. Then all of a sudden you're like, hey, Gesicki, can I get like 5 seconds to get a quote? He's going to be like, get the hell out of here. Yeah. I'm not going to talk to you.
I mean, the locker rooms are open. We got to see these players every day. So again, there's a way to go about it. The players will respect it. Like, they know when they're not playing well, but there's a way to go about it. To be fair and still respect.
Tell Noah I got his back.
Be respectful, because it's funny, because a lot of times I get called PC or I get called a fence hopper because I either wait.
I don't understand how anybody can hate on you, Doug. I'm sorry.
Dude, I get it so much.
I don't understand it.
You have no idea how much hate I get for certain things. And it's because I am not jumping to conclusions, and people don't like
so you're a flip flopper like me.
That's what I get called. Yeah, because I don't jump to conclusions. I wait.
You want to know how much I get called a flip flopper?
Okay, here's the evidence.
So for my birthday, I literally had somebody make me flip floppers, bro.
Did EM send you that, bro?
No,
never want to show flip floppers.
I thought it was good. I like.
Bro, you want to hear a real one? Hear a real one. So I got told by someone in the media after the first day. I think you heard the story, TD, from EM. I got told, you know, from I think it was like the first day of camp or whatever, about, you know, Tua's arm doesn't look like it's it. And the person gave me a comparison of, you know, it looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick's arm when it was dying. Then I talked to someone else who was at that closed session. They gave me a totally opposite. They said, hey, he wasn't asked to test his arm. He wasn't asked to flash it. You know, you can't even say that. I reported both on my Patreon. I literally had people coming to me and saying I'm playing both sides of the fence and I don't believe in Tua because I reported what someone else told me. That was at camp.
Listen,
how do y'all deal with
me as y'all just white noise, bro.
Y'all complaining about y'all haters, man. I love them. I love every single one of them. Sorry. I'm going on Twitter tonight saying that Noah better than X, and I'm gonna get everybody mad.
Just keep up the Skylar QB1. You're doing good.
Once a week, I put something on Twitter.
Noah Is that what it's called? Noah Non?
Noah
near.
It's funny too, because there are people out there not only will hate on us, but will try to pit us against us. I've already.
So that's what I was about to say. I'm like, there's way too much kindness right now. We're supposed to hate each other.
I'll say his name. I'll throw his name out there. His name's Cliff D, and he's come after me.
Doug dropping names.
He's coming after me.
I've never seen you call somebody out.
because TD goes to camp and I don't. So TD's better than me. And I'm like, TD's my boy. And he goes, don't call him your boy. What the, like a whole span. And then I've also had somebody come after me and Reason saying, yo, Doug, Reason's calling you out.
I've had plenty of people say
last
that
night,
Reason,
Doug. They did that last
Reason and I
night.
have had conversations, and I'm like, I love Reason, I love Doug, and I love TD. There's nothing.
So it's not even
hey,
haters on us. They're trying to make us fight, and they don't know how close we are.
all talk to each other, which is the funny part.
We're like,
Listen,
we're
I
like
love
best
my
friends that have
haters.
never met.
I
Bro,
love
when I make my
haters,
generalized rants, a lot of them take it as I'm talking about YouTubers, but the majority of it actually is the fools on Twitter. All right, like because that scene has become so toxic. You know what I mean? Like it's just a lot of it. Like the thing is, they'll take generalized statements and they'll try to pit us against them with the generalized statements, and it's like just because. We don't want to drop people's names because we're not going to give these people the
except
light
for
of
Doug
day
calling out
and
Cliff
time.
Lee, which I think
Yeah,
is
hey,
hilarious.
shout out to Doug. But that's one. How long did that take? That took 5 years
and
for
you
Doug
did
to
it on
do
my
that, bro.
channel of all places.
Hey, Daniel, have you gotten this heat?
Have you
on
gotten
Twitter?
heat on Twitter?
I probably have. I'm not gonna lie. I have my notification silenced, so if I don't,
That's what I do, bro.
That's what you gotta do.
That's exactly what I do,
they
man.
talking to a brick wall. They talking to a brick wall.
No, I love responding. I love showing them how much I don't care. It's just a game for me.
That's my biggest downfall. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong, and then it's just like,
and then
I used to be like that.
But time out. You did get blocked by Gesicki. Gesicki can't block people, but
I
he
got
blocked
blocked
you
by
on Twitter.
I got blocked by Gesicki too.
I never
blocked.
Are y'all still blocked by? Are y'all still blocked by Gesicki?
Yo, he was
That's still
blocking
the
people
funniest
who
thing
were even
in the
saying
world.
he was searching his name because I got my notifications on silent like
the funniest
Daniel.
thing in the world.
But I'll search my Twitter handle once in a while to see what people are saying, and then I'll interact with people that way. But Mike Gesicki must have searched his name, and he was blocking people who were saying nice stuff about him too, bro. He didn't care. It was block fest.
I'm gonna make sure Noah block y'all.
Yo, please. That'll be the first block he's ever thrown in live action. Please.
Oh,
the worst
Let me see
that
it.
I've ever felt is I think it was last year or the year before I was talking about the cut down to the 53-man roster, and I said that Adam Pankey's not going to make the roster, and he liked the tweet, and I was like, oh my god. I felt horrible. I was like, I mean,
bro, there was a dude.
EM Dolphin Phins said Black Party.
Bro, there was a dude a couple years ago on Twitter. He sent me the screenshots. He was talking crap about Jesse Davis, and Jesse Davis hopped in his DMs, bro, and like came right at him over it, like because this guy was trying to do like film breakdown like threads, and he was like talking smack about Jesse, and Jesse Davis like hopped in and said like you don't know what you're talking about, and like just started like ripping on him.
I drew a tombstone on that man last year. I'm surprised he didn't come after me.
Your breakdown, bro.
Yeah, there was one play in a breakdown where I paused it to show Tua looking off, and I looked over and he was laying on the ground face down with his hands. So I drew a tombstone and I put RIP and I put it on Twitter. I'm surprised he didn't come after me. I didn't know.
Y'all need to stop picking on our players, man. It ain't cool.
He's not our player
Daniel's
anymore.
gonna get guilty by association, and tomorrow all the players are gonna come. So you were on with the YouTubers.
Daniel's
last night,
definitely
huh?
gonna, I know.
See how it is,
Bro, there's about to be Twitter spaces about you, bro. Get ready.
Get ready.
Oh man,
I don't get it. It's so funny because people were like talking crap the entire last couple of days since I announced that I was doing this panel, and Doug's people were for Doug and TD's people were for TD's and Reason, and they were all going against each other. And I'm like, if y'all only knew that we all
want us
laugh
to hate
and
each
get
other
along,
so bad.
it's the funniest thing in the world.
Like I'll pop into like TD's chat and I'm like, hey man, and then they just attack me. Some of them will just start attacking me, and EM's like, yo, what the hell did Doug do? He's getting flamed in the chat. And I'm like, wait, what? They're coming. You two in there, you two of this, two.
Oh
like,
my god,
talking about? I'm like, TD, I love you, and they're like, screw
well, people
you.
on my morning show all the time talk about TD, and I'm like, just so y'all know, TD's the nicest person you'll ever meet. I know TD doesn't want me saying that out loud.
I don't get it. I support every player on this team.
Bro.
I love every player on this team. I just have my own opinions. Just brutally honest.
The gatekeeping. I'm supposed to hate TD. I'm supposed to hate TD because I believe in Tua's upside, and TD's supposed to hate me because he doesn't believe in his upside. Exactly. That's literally what these people make it about. Listen, dude, I want people to listen to me real close. Me and TD and Doug, and I mean, I'm sure Daniel, because he'll be covering it, it'll be fun, and Steven, and Swear Jar, I don't give a fuck.
No, there's no swear jar. You can cuss.
I don't give a fuck if it's Tua Tagovailoa. I don't give a fuck if it's Skylar Thompson. I don't give a fuck if it's Teddy Bridgewater. I don't give a fuck if they trade back for Josh Rosen. I don't give a fuck if he's black, white, purple, alien race. I don't give a shit. Just bring me a goddamn Super Bowl, okay? My memories as a kid sitting on my dad's lap crying because we just got kicked out by Jim Kelly and the Bills because we couldn't stop the run game. You know, Stoyanovich missing a field goal in the 90s.
You're bringing up bad memories, Reason.
That's why we deserve this, bro. The first game my stepdad ever watched with me was Marino's last game. We all know how that went.
7.
Okay,
62-7.
So I've been through it with this team, even though I ain't been here since the 70s or the 60s. I've been through it with this team. We deserve this.
No, exactly. You don't have that readily available. I'm mad that you have that readily available, bro.
Hey,
that bothers me.
Did Marino win a Super Bowl?
Nope.
Listen, man, I'm over it. I'm over it. At the end of the day, like Reason said, whatever it takes.
Yep.
I don't care. It doesn't matter who the guy is. People don't understand this about me. I don't believe in Tua's long-term upside because I feel like they wasted the first 2 years of his career. They should have actually sat him, developed him in a pro-style system, and debuted him now. That was always my opinion. And I don't believe in his upside because he never had that true opportunity to develop. But if he becomes a franchise quarterback, there is no greater profit for the Miami Dolphins. There is no better scenario for the Miami Dolphins. That is the best situation for this team, period. And I hope this kid comes out and light it the heck up this year.
40 burger week 1.
But just because on my show, I'm not going to automatically say he is, it's an issue. I'm not going to go ahead and give him credit for something he hasn't done. It's an issue. When I see it, I'll believe it, and I will be the most ecstatic person about it. And to my haters that always say when Tua ball out, don't hop on the bandwagon, I always tell y'all, I'm going to be the first one hopping on it, and it ain't nothing you could do. And I will admit, I'm on the bandwagon. Let's go. But I'm going to be. But guess what? If I flip-flop, Tua flip-flop because his play changed. I just give it to you what it is. I give you what he gives you on the field. If I'm flip-flopping, then he flip-flopping, but it was for the better of this team, and I'm all for it.
Well, TD, I'm self-admitted believing in his ceiling, but why in 3 years have I not labeled him a franchise quarterback yet? Because, again, I'm film-based. No, I'm film-based. I see. Listen, he can make the NFL throws. He can make the reads, but he can – but he doesn't do it consistently enough. Just like his pre-snap determination stuff. That crap needs to go. I've been hating on that for 2 years now. So I see his flaws, but I believe off the flashes I've seen and some of the film I've seen, he can clean it up. And if he cleans it up, he can get to where we need him to be to win. But hey, there's a reason why I haven't called him a franchise quarterback yet. Everyone labels me the biggest two and near out of all of us. So I mean, you figure that one out, bro.
Well, Doug said he's better than Marino already. So y'all get this is why they attack Doug, okay? He's better than Marino.
That man's autograph over my shoulder. Don't you dare.
Oh man, listen. I actually have to get out of here, Steven. The wife side.
Well, I want to give everybody an opportunity to promote themselves or promote what they got going on and say one last thing. So whatever you guys want, we'll start with you, Mr. TD Phins Talk.
Oh well, listen, man. TD Phins Talk, home of the real Skylar fans. I mean, Miami Dolphins fans. No, man, I'm just doing me, same old, going live as much as I can, talk about the team that I love, stirring the pot, just having a lot of fun, making this community as interactive as I possibly can, doing my part, which is a small part of something so much bigger with what everybody does. I want to say this before I go. I'm so appreciative to all the other content creators in YouTube, Twitter world, especially our beat writers. We appreciate what they do. And again, Daniel, thank you so much for how you do what you do. And Stephen D, thank you for putting this together. And this is what it's about. Ain't nobody even though we may have difference of opinions, we all still find a way to respect each other and commingle and check on each other's in our personal life. We're a lot tighter than a lot of y'all even can imagine. But I will say this: I just hope that our fan base can start to get more like that and respect opinions, regardless if you disagree, because that's the ultimate sign of maturity. You don't have to agree with somebody, but just respecting that they have an opinion goes a long way without getting disrespectful and nasty. And just so you know, I dropped the video last night. Tua called me, gave me an exclusive mic'd up. Y'all go check that out. But I'll see y'all later. I gotta run though, y'all. I hate to dip out without hearing what y'all gotta say, but I actually have to run. All right.
I love you, TD. Be good, man.
Yeah, bro.
See you,
bro. And then there were 4. Reason. Final. We do final thought of the day. So I will give you. That's what we'll call this. Final thought of the day. Promote everything. Do you, buddy?
Thanks for having me. That was actually a really good conversation.
Fun.
I thought there was gonna be a lot more Skylar. I was prepared, bro. My notes went to waste.
Thank God.
We talk about it all the time on our own panels and shows. No way.
To be honest with you, I was a fan of Skylar coming out of Kansas. I just thought he needed to clean up his touch accuracy and placement on the intermediate, deep levels. It looks like he's worked on it, and he's working on it. I like what I've seen from Skylar. You know, I like both quarterbacks' potential in this system, and stop making it divisive. You know, like, why can't, like, some people are out here trying to suck the life out of us watching Skylar develop in front of us. Like, don't take the joy out of it. Don't put the pressure of like, oh, he's got to be the guy right away. Like, enjoy the ride. I think we're gonna have at the end of the day 2 really capable guys that can run this offense. Now, how that, you know, works itself out or at the end of the day, that's up to the players themselves. None of us. We can all have opinions on it, but you know, this is their time. So personally, you know where to find me, Finside the NFL. You can find me on the Believe Network with Richard Webb and Mr. Ballgame. The Finish Lines moved to the Believe Network. You can also find me on Spotify, iTunes with Neil Driscoll, with Fin Too Deep.
Shout out to Neil.
Yeah, Neil the homie. So you can find me everywhere, really. I mean, if you want to. And yeah, I just appreciate the conversation. Thank you to Daniel for coming up here, Doug, Steven for having me, and TD for not coming out with some crazy takes today. It was beautiful stuff. I like it when it's normal. And it's fun, good times, man. Great conversation, guys.
Doug, final.
Good. Guys, in the comment section, I want when we were talking about everyone trying to pit us against it, y'all take this stuff way more personal than we do. I want
all day, every day.
Because listen, I used to be that guy sitting there arguing with all y'all on Twitter, but guess what I realized? My wife and my kids, that time is more valuable going towards them than putting negative energy and arguing all the time. So I do my stuff and I get out, you know, like, so remember, we do this stuff. We have our opinions, and we are the ones that are always willing to put them out there for you guys to critique and rip apart. Right?
Which is fine. We don't have a problem with that.
And we got no problem with that. But guys, at the end of the day, this is football. And a lot of these players, a lot of us are never going to meet in real life. So let's not take this personal. Let's not take this personal. Let's not over gatekeep. And honestly, let's enjoy this ride because there's a lot of potential for this team this year. Anyways, go ahead, Doug. Sorry, I apologize.
No, that's cool. Had a blast. Absolute blast. Daniel, it was fantastic to meet you. Like I said, follow you on Twitter. You're one of my guys that I go play by play, write it down. I listen to you. I really appreciate sitting here chatting with you guys. We got like everyone keeps saying, we got to stop pinning. What I notice is we crush one player to raise another player, and it's the Miami Dolphins. Like, if you care more about a player than you do about the team, then you're not a Dolphins fan. You're that fan. So all these Skynet, I think they're calling themselves now.
Oh, here we go.
What they're called. Now I have to admit, Roach is Roach, my producer of my morning show. Mm-hmm. I think he's the one who started Skynet or was one of the people, but he's doing it as we're taking this way too seriously.
Yeah, 100% way too seriously. You know? Let's get back to winning. How about that? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Let's get back to winning. But I always have a blast coming on. Steven, you put great panels together. I love that you did this one at night for me specifically.
I did it for you. Daniel came on. I said, Daniel, we can't do it any other time except evening because it's the only time I can get Doug on. That's it.
Yeah, just a little backstory on why I have she's now 18-month-old. My wife is a nurse, so she works 12-hour shifts.
With the exception of Daniel, we all have kids. Nobody wants to hear that you have a baby and that your life is like the world.
Your child, you son of a. So I work at night, so I break down film. I do my I'll say to my wife, hey, like when I did the collab with the fish tank, I was like, listen, you have off this day. You got to give me like an hour in the middle of the day because I'm about to talk to OJ McDuffie, and that's never going to happen again.
Never gonna happen.
So she was
You
like,
won't do that for Stephen D, but you'll do it for OJ. I understand. I
How
get
many
it.
touchdowns have you caught by Dan Marino?
None, but still, I get it. I understand it. Seth Lovett and OJ McDuffie are goats. We love them both. I love those guys. They're amazing.
But I love these panels, and I also love, I sit here and I read the chat, especially when the best was the bet. Somebody had a bet in the beginning, Reason, before he even got here. When is Reason and TD going to go at it? And then when it happened, they were like, called it. So it's like,
yeah, but people don't realize it ends
though,
there,
really.
right? Like we don't agree on things, but that doesn't mean me and him don't get along, bro.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize it when we go on our little rants on our own show, or when we, about whatever, or when we go back and forth, bro. When that is done, when we put it down, it's over and done with. They think about it more than we do, bro. So, but again, people want to see the drama. Controversy sells.
But yeah, you can find me. My name is very peculiar. You can find me anywhere.
Peculiar. You can't spell that. Spell that, Doug.
Bro, I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
I had a hard time saying friggin' Cater Co. and Azukoma. I had to
Azukama. It's Is it Azukama, Daniel?
Listen, I
Azukama.
listened to the pronunciation of him saying
You're
it
wrong, Daniel.
over and over
Doug,
again.
you're wrong, Doug. It's
Not
Azukama.
wrong. Sam McGuavin got his
Sammy
name
Guavon,
right. Because
my
you know
guy.
what?
I'm wearing his
I'm
jersey.
going to say
tomorrow on
this.
my
This is
show.
going to be
I'm
my
on
last
show.
thing because I want to rile feathers before I stop talking. Sam McGuavin, preseason, Pro Bowler, right? Just getting sacks like crazy. All of a sudden, regular season disappears. Who's that sound like? Skylar Thompson.
So you just drop an atomic bomb and let everybody react to that, Doug? You called out somebody, and are you the real Doug?
I'm a new man.
This
You
is
see me wearing all black.
obviously.
I'm like Sting.
This
when
is
he
so
went
not
from the color
Doug.
makeup to the black makeup and the trench coat.
The crow
I'm coming
Sting?
down with the bat.
Daniel, final thought of the day, buddy.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you for having me on. It was great talking to you guys for sure. I love interacting, with people in the community, so it's definitely dope. It's gonna be a fun season. It's like the general, just feel is like it's either gonna be like great or it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Either way, it's gonna be interesting because one thing I learned about the Dolphins in the year is they always keep it interesting.
Salty Doug.
So I'm definitely looking forward to the season starting. In terms of following me, you can follow me on social media, really on Twitter. That's where I put most of my Dolphins updates at Daniel Oyefusi, just like you see. And obviously, if you want to read my work, Miami Herald, MiamiHerald.com. We got a sports-only package, so if you're just interested in the sports, you should just get that. And then Dolphins, that podcast that I was kind of referring to before, comes out every Wednesday morning. Season starting, so we're going to have a bunch of content. I'm excited to get it rolling.
My final thought of the day is I love each and every one of you all, and I really mean that. I talk to all of you via text. I talk to all of you, as much as I'm able to. Some of you I'm not as able to talk to as much to. Doug, Reason, I wish I could talk to you guys more. But I do talk to Daniel and TD a lot. And I really feel that part of what I wanted to do, that's why I'm spread kindness, positivity, and love. That's why I love doing these panels, because I want people to see that there's cohesiveness within this community, and that there's love, and that there's passion, and that we all want to be with each other and just love each other and just be amazing.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Jeez, guy.
You're singing now? I didn't know you were singing.
Excuse
You
me.
brought it out of me.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you for bringing the
singing.
passion out,
Oh,
Steven.
TD's back. You in trouble?
No,
Are
you
in
said
trouble?
no. Somebody said something about Skylar.
Okay.
He's like Beetlejuice, but for Skylar.
Did somebody say
Candyman,
something?
bro.
Did somebody
Here's
say something
Skylar's name
negative
3
about
times and he
Skylar
appears.
and what he can't do and what's going to happen in the regular season?
No.
I was trying to tell people about my kumbaya and how I love everybody and everybody should get along, and then you just came on.
Oh, I was just making sure we ain't got no Skynet problem.
No.
Then he dropped off.
And then he drops out like Skynet hit
Skylar
him.
sucks. He's the next Sam McGuavin. He's garbage.
Whoa, those are Doug.
I'm testing it. I'm just testing it.
You and Tua, Salty Tua and Salty Doug. I mean, are you guys
Hey,
talking?
I gotta embrace the 2 and 9 now, don't I?
Bro.
How much do you think that's gonna be clipped? And then people be like, I knew it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Guys, every morning right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network is the #1 Miami fan morning show. It's catered to Dolphins fans. It's called Clock Blockers. I hope you all tune in. 9 a.m. to noon usually. We have a good time. It's a lot of fun. I usually bring on the panels. Tomorrow's Wildin' Out Wednesday, where I bring on the panel. It gets crazy. We go insane. Wildin' Out Wednesdays. Fridays is Spread Kindness Friday. But I would love for you, if you've never watched the morning show, to come on and hang out with us. I think tomorrow's show is a lot. Don't judge us based on tomorrow's show, because Wildin' Out Wednesday gets crazy. but usually it's really, really good, and there's a lot of love, and I try to keep it very positive. So thank you I want to thank you, all of you, for coming on, and I want to do this again next month, maybe after the first few games of the season, and just be like, hey, where are we at? What's the state of the Dolphins? And maybe we'll do a State of the Dolphin address panel again with all of us. You guys down for that in a few weeks? Yeah. 8 weeks, 7-8 weeks? Let's do it again. Book it. All right, guys. Miami Sports Music's #1 evening show, Dolphin Chat, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.